NFL Divisional Saturday is in the books, and the Denver Broncos and Seattle Seahawks are set to host conference championship games. Let's talk about it. The Seattle Seahawks beat the absolute piss out of the San Francisco 49ers. I'm going to be honest, I'm recording this video while there's 12 minutes left in this football game. So is the score going to be completely accurate? I don't know. Seattle's up 41-6 right now. I'm willing to throw in the towel. I'm willing to say this game's over. Record a little bit, get this out for you guys ASAP, Rocky. Yeah, Seattle jumped all over San Francisco. Rashid Shaheed opens the game with a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown. It felt like from the jump, you knew that was the knockout punch. To me, at least, it felt like San Francisco was gasping for life from the second that this freaking game started, man. And by the end of the first quarter, Seattle's already up 17-0. And you're like, yeah, it's caught up to San Francisco. All the injuries have caught up to them in this one encapsulating moment. Seattle, rust versus rest out the bye. Clearly a well-rested, well-oiled machine coming out of the bye. Mike McDonald had that defense firing on all cylinders. The offense playing really great ball as well. The run game absolutely legit. I do think the run game is going to be a little bit overblown going forward because San Francisco's got a pretty bad run defense right now. I know Philly wasn't able to, capitalize on it last week because they have the worst offensive coordinator in history in Kevin Patullo, but Seattle showed you in this particular spot, man. Ken Walker right now is at 19 carries for 116 yards and 3 touchdowns. Apologies for the computer there. So, he's just feasting right now. He has just as many rushing yards as Sam Darnold has passing yards in this game. And Darnold came into this game with the oblique injury, and we were like, what's he going to be? Where's he going to be at? Didn't get asked to do too much in this game, which honestly, great for him. If I'm Seattle, and again, I'm recording this, as the fourth quarter just kind of got underway, I'm putting Drew Lock in for the rest of this game, letting Darnold rest up. But when Darnold was asked to make a couple plays in this game, I felt like he had no problem throwing the ball. So I feel like for an NFC Championship game in Seattle next week, Darnold should be doing just fine in this particular spot. Yeah, there's not much analysis to give, man. Seattle just punched San Francisco in the mouth. They weren't on the ground, and they just kept punching. Christian McCaffrey gets banged up right before halftime. Tunges gets banged up. No Kittle in this game, obviously. Pearsall's playing hurt. You didn't have Fred Warner. You didn't have Nicky Bosa. You didn't have Michael Williams. I don't want to take away from the 49ers, man. I think this season is a hell of an accomplishment from this football team. And I know going out like this is pretty demoralizing, but the fact that they got to 12-5 with the injuries that they had, Brock Purdy missing time. Like I mentioned, the two best players on the defense, Fred Warner, Nick Bosa, out for the year, presumably. I mean, Warner, I guess, could have been back next week, but it's not going to happen at this point. And look at this, a sack fumble. So Seattle's got the ball again. Their defense forces another turnover in this game. Their defense is so freaking good, man. But yeah, San Francisco fans, I wouldn't hang my head too low in this particular spot. I think San Francisco could absolutely be players next year if they could stay healthy. Now you question, how healthy can they stay next to that electromagnetic field factory thing? Yeah, I don't know. Not a scientist guy when it comes to that, but I think the 49ers proved that they have a hell of a head coach in Shanahan. Saleh might get a job, which could hurt them defensively, but they'll get healthy on defense, you'd imagine. I thought Brock Purdy looked pretty decent this year. Looks like a top 15 quarterback. McCaffrey, you could argue, is best running back in the league this year. And, they're going to get off the Ayuk money. I think that there are brighter days ahead for the 49ers. Seattle. This looks like a team that could win the Super Bowl. And it's not that I didn't believe in Seattle as a Super Bowl contender. I obviously had them as a Super Bowl favorite for months on the tier list, but this is probably the most confident I have felt and the highest I have felt on Seattle all season, because we watched the Rams kind of stutter over the last month and a half of the year, playing some of their worst football. Chicago's defense, it's just not good. And I think we're going to see that tomorrow. But even if by some miracle they win, I think Seattle will be able to move the ball on them. And whether it's LA, whether it's Chicago, going to Seattle and facing what is a top 2 defense in football, no doubt about it. Texans and Seahawks, one 1A, 1B, whichever way you want to word it. I'm not here for that argument. It's brutal. And this may be the most complete team in the NFL. A stacked defense, Witherspoon, Woolen, Amanawari, Ernest Jones, DeMarcus Lawrence, Leonard Williams, you name it. Dudes, Mike Mack coaches a hell of a defensive unit. Darnold playing at a top 15 level. You know, Pro Bowler last year, not quite this year, but I still think a gunslinger, a guy who can make any throw. Will he make some risky passes time to time? Absolutely. Ken Walker, one of the most talented running backs in the sport, kind of getting hot at the right time here at the end of the season and really living up to his potential. The Charbonnet injury, we'll see how that goes. I feel like if this game was closer, probably could have played again. So a real good 1-2 punch there. JSN, leading receiver this year. How you doing? And other pieces, man. Shaheed, real difference maker at the deadline. You know, they've been getting him involved and getting him touches in creative ways, whether it's jet sweeps or little jet touch passes, screens to him. But on the kickoff game, the man's a menace. I feel like he already has 3 kick return touchdowns in Seattle. Maybe I'm wrong there. He had that punt return versus the Rams. I know he had a kick return versus Atlanta. And then tonight, so definitely at least 3 special teams touchdowns already for Shaheed. The dude's a beast. And it just feels like all the stars may be aligning for Seattle. We'll see what we get out of Chicago and LA tomorrow, but Seattle might just be the most complete team in the NFL. And if they can get Sam Darnold, the game manager, to make a couple throws a game like he did tonight, I mean, look at the score, man. 41-6 over a team that damn sure earned their spot in the divisional round. This is annihilation. This is what it would look like. They're playing the Jets. It's a tough place to play. It's a tough team to play. Seattle could definitely be headed to a Super Bowl. The Denver Broncos beat the Buffalo Bills in what could be considered the game of the playoffs thus far, as the Broncos pick up the 33-30 victory in overtime. There is so much to unpack in this game, so much more than there is in that Seattle-San Francisco game, obviously. Denver, man. Denver picks up the win in this spot. In Mile High, you know, there were a lot of people picking against them, myself included. Denver went out there and proved me wrong. I thought that Denver's defense rose to the occasion. Josh Allen is a superstar level quarterback. He's going to be able to put points up on you, but I thought they made a ton of plays that did swing momentum in this game. And I thought my Oregon Duck, Bo Nix, really rose to the moment in this game. Perfect game from Bo Nix? No, but a lot of big time throws from him. Well, there's a lot to unpack here. We'll start on the Broncos side of things with the Bo Nix injury. Obviously, this is super devastating. And to me, it feels like for the first time in NFL history, both fan bases are leaving a playoff game distraught, upset, sad, and with good reason. If you are the Denver Broncos, you had the #1 seed. You just beat a Buffalo Bills team that was playoff experienced. A Josh Allen who in the playoffs has only lost to Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow in recent memories. You beat him. You were the #1 seed. Your offense kept pace with the Buffalo Bills. Your defense caused 5 turnovers. You were going to be hosting an AFC Championship game against either a shaky Texans offense or a Patriots O-line who I'm very confident they would have gotten pressure against. And either of those guys coming to Mile High, it would be the biggest moment of their career. On the road, Denver, AFC chip. There was a strong possibility the Denver Broncos were headed to the Super Bowl this year. And I'm not going to write the obituary on it. But we've seen Nick Foles do it before. It's one game. Denver has a really solid defense. Sean Payton's a really smart, offensive-minded head coach to make things easy. It's not impossible, but it feels like your heart's just ripped out if you're the Denver Broncos with this Bo Nix news. Injured on the second to last play for him. The negative 3-yard run. It's absolutely brutal. And for Buffalo, a franchise that keeps finding ways to lose massive playoff games. You could have won this game if you're Buffalo. And do I think that Brandon Cooks caught that ball. Yeah, I do. I do think that Buffalo probably should have won the game there. But because you had 5 turnovers in the game, 4 up to that point, you put yourself in a position where one bad call could change the outcome. That's on Buffalo. That's on James Cook fumbling early in the game when the Bills were driving and it looked like it was going to be 14-3. Instead, a fumble from James Cook. Denver gets momentum. Denver drives down the field. They take a 10-7 lead. It's on Josh Allen, per his own words. He had 2 really costly fumbles that led to 6 Denver points. The 3 that he gave up right before the half, that's probably the biggest error in judgment performance that Buffalo had in this game. Is he looking for a lateral? Why are they not just kneeling and going to halftime here? Bills being hyper aggressive. They fumble and they give up 3 give-me points before halftime to make it 20-10. And by the way, what turned out to be a 3-point game. That's a killer. You look at Buffalo and they had countless opportunities. Yes, I believe that Brandon Cooks caught that football. Did I like the pass interference calls at the end of the game? The first one, definitely not. But guess what? Joey Bosa, clear as day, committed roughing the passer. So if they accepted the pass interference for 17 yards or the roughing the passer for 15 yards, did it really freaking matter on that one? And let's be honest, Tre'Davious White was there early. Buffalo shot themselves in the foot time and time in this game. And because of really how good Josh Allen is, he was able to pull them out of it. Some of it self-inflicted wounds by Josh himself, don't get me wrong. But do I leave this game thinking Josh Allen's a bad player? No. But he is part of the reason they lost. The whole team needs to wear this loss. Josh Allen commits 4 turnovers, 2 very costly fumbles. James Cook, your league's leading rusher, commits a fumble early in this game. The defense, costly penalties in overtime. Everybody's got to wear this loss on Buffalo. You know, again, I get it if you're a Bills fan and you're freaking pissed about that Brandon Cooks play. I get it. But leaving the game up to one play, to me, means you didn't do enough to win. And that's how I feel on it. I felt like Denver earned the win. I felt like they committed less turnovers. I mean, I know that they committed less turnovers, less mistakes. I do believe Buffalo probably the better team if they played a clean game, but this Denver defense can force you into playing a sloppy game. And that's what happened in this game. I wrote down every key play in this game. James Cook fumble. Like I said, could have been 14-3, was 10-7. Right before the half, Bo Nix hits Lil Jordan Humphrey on a nice touchdown, which, by the way, they should have had on the first drive. Lil Jordan Humphrey dropped that ball. Then you have, of course, the Josh Allen wild fumble. Denver goes into half up 20-10. Allen fumbles again to open up the second half. So back-to-back possessions before and out of the half, and then a Josh Allen fumble. The second one, not so much Josh Allen's fault. I mean, Khalil Shakur as the blocker there, weird choice, to me, like it's supposed to be a chip, but Dawkins never got back to him. Weird play there. Not so much on Allen, but you got to feel him behind you. And then it's 23-10. And I'll give Josh Allen credit. He led 2 really strong drives, and that touchdown pass to Kincaid in the fourth quarter was freaking beautiful. And Buffalo went up 24-23. And Buffalo went up 27-23 later. And then Bo Nix, we got to give him credit. Ball's on the table, 4 minutes to go, drives down the field, and leads a touchdown go-ahead drive in the AFC Divisional round of the playoffs, dropping in a touchdown pass to Marvin Mims. But 55 seconds left, too much time for Josh Allen, 30-30 into overtime. Buffalo forces a 3-and-out. Obviously, there's that controversial interception. I thought Cooks caught it. I thought Buffalo should have won the game there. But, you leave it up to one play, you leave it up to overtime. Wild shit happens all the time. At the end of the day, I believe being mad at the refs over those couple calls at the end there, a little bit of loser mentality. And Josh, a pro's pro, a freaking leader, he wore it. He said, it was on me. And you saw how emotional these guys were, and I get it. For Denver, where do they go here? In the micro, hope that the defense at home can carry you. And Stidham, who's been in this system all year, there's not a lot of film on him. Hopefully he could be a game manager. And you're probably trying to win an AFC championship game 20-13, 20-16. From that standpoint, you're probably rooting on Houston, because if it's Houston, it's more likely to be a defensive battle. But on the other side of the coin, New England's offensive line looks suspect. For the macro, the bigger picture, at least you know this works. Bo, heal up, get healthy, and we can run it back next year. And with guys improving, another draft, who's to say that the Denver Broncos can't be the 1 seed again? They have a great O-line. They have a great defense. I don't think that they have very many key free agents. Bo Nix is still on the rookie deal. Still got Sean Payton. This team's going to be around for a long time. For the Bills side of things, I do think that there's a lot of questions to be asked. Josh Allen, I felt sold in this football game. And it's not, I don't think he played a terrible game, but I don't think he did enough to win. I think the reality of the NFL is Denver's going to have a better roster. Denver's got a Bo Nix on a rookie deal, and Josh Allen makes $50 million a year. Josh Allen has to outperform Bo Nix 10 times out of 10 in playoff games. And today, Bo Nix was a better player than Josh Allen statistically. That cannot happen. That can't happen for Buffalo. It just can't. You can't turn the ball, like Josh Allen said it, you can't turn the ball over 5 times in a playoff game and expect to win. They sold. And for their future, do you have to move on from McDermott? I mean, again, similar to Baltimore, you're not going to move on from the star quarterback. And I don't think McDermott and Allen have problems per se. Would I be mad at Buffalo for running it back? Would I say that they're wasting Josh Allen's prime? I wouldn't go that far. I think that there's some clear holes in this Buffalo roster. The run defense is really bad. But again, Denver didn't take advantage of that today. Denver's leading rusher was Bo Nix with 29 rushing yards. They didn't take advantage of that. You look at how Denver won this game. They forced you into mistakes, and they were able to move the ball against your pass defense. And I feel like Buffalo has kind of not a cap on how much talent they can get, but you got Josh Allen. You got the league's leading rusher. You got a really great offensive line. Shakir was a hit. Keon Coleman was a miss, but Dalton Kincaid's a hit. Do you need your GM to hit on every single pick? Yeah, they need a better outside wide receiver. No doubt about it. But I watched Mahomes a couple of years ago go to a Super Bowl with his receiving core being Sky Moore, Mecole Hardman, and Boo Smith-Schuster. It can be done. And Josh didn't make the AFC chip with a top 10 ranked pass defense. At a certain point, it's also just they got to perform. And this feels like it was their moment. If they had lost this game because Denver had gashed their run defense and they were keeping Josh Allen on the bench and Allen had thrown 3-4 touchdowns, no picks, 120 passer rating, I would say, hey, like this is on the roster. But Buffalo had their chances to win this game, man. Buffalo's moment was probably this year, the way that Baltimore's was in 2023. Not at the same degree, because that Baltimore team was different. But you look at what Buffalo had, the clear best quarterback in the conference, a real run game that worked today, a good offensive line, solid defense. You're not going to have everything when you're paying the quarterback $50 million a year. And you don't get it done this year with no Mahomes, no Burrow, no Lamar in the playoffs. Denver's going to be back around. The Patriots already won the division over you. They're going to improve. They got tons of cap space. Houston's had your number. The Chargers, I think, are going to be back. You got to wonder for Buffalo, did they miss their shot? I think it's possible that they missed. And that really sucks, man. My heart goes out to Buffalo fans. My heart goes out to Denver fans, man. A playoff game with what feels like two losers. As always, guys, those are just my thoughts. Be sure to leave yours in the comment section down below. If you're new to the channel and you love the NFL, hit that subscribe button. We'll be back up here tomorrow to react to Texans, Patriots, and of course, Rams, Bears. You don't want to miss that. I will see you then. Peace.